Hey, I'm Van Smith. I directed Maggie's Not Okay. Here just is the rest of our team.
I'm Bezod. I was in Maggie's Not Okay.
Hi, I'm Malzum. I wrote and starred in Maggie's Not Okay. And should we also answer the? Okay, great. I feel like as women, we tend to be people pleasers, and we usually kind of go along with whatever is asked of us. And so I feel like the way Maggie fit in this amazing block, by the way, I loved every single movie, so congratulations to everybody. I think was finally Maggie saying enough is enough, and she finally stood up and said no, and decided to take stuff in her own hands.
Hi, I'm Manu Zaidi, and I'm representing The Clown. I was a producer on that. I'm here all the way from Pakistan, and I'm very, very honored to be among such amazing films. And thank you, ISAF, for having us. I just feel like as women, we just breaking boundaries and yes, saying no, finally. So thank you for having us.
Hey everyone, I'm Rivik Davale and I wrote and directed Hema, and I don't think it would have been possible without two important people who are women. One of them is my mother, and I feel like being a patriarch of the family, you would think it's the father, but my father was away in Thane working while my mom raised me and took me to school, so I think a lot of my sensitivity comes from her. And the second person would be my producer, Aishwarya. When I pitched her this idea 2 years ago, it was just us going back and forth, and she's just as creatively involved as I am. So I think a lot of times when you're trying to make something which you're not, and you're trying to look at it from a perspective, I couldn't have her as a reference point. It was a lot of sort of research and even just going back into thinking about what she felt like, because I feel like she's not just a mother, but she's a human being with dreams, and I kind of wanted to capture that in Hema. So.
Hi everyone, my name's Meher. I directed and produced I'm Dead Right.
I'm Rita. I wrote and acted and produced I'm Dead Right.
I think Rita and I really, when we set out to make this project, wanted to create something that reflected what we were working through with our moms and sort of our journeys, and I think being bold kind of is embedded in the fabric of those journeys. So throughout the process of making this, which took a long time, it was interrupted by a pandemic, I think we were able to sort of evolve with the story and see new things inside of it and find a message that continues to be relevant to us now. So we're really excited to share it with all of you.
Wow, thank you guys. What a lineup. All right, Maggie's Not Okay team. I'd like to start with you guys. So I'll have, I guess if fans can get the mic. We're just gonna go down the line and everyone gets a question, because I think I really want to just dive into what each of you guys brought to your project. So Vance, I was talking to your team here this morning, and I learned a little bit about your background, and I learned that you worked with a lot of the cast in theater before. So my question for you is, where emotions and expressions are often more pronounced due to the nature of theater and live performance, how did you navigate this transition to film, and where the characters have to be a little bit more subtle, especially with Maggie's transformation from being a people pleaser to having to be this bold woman?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if her transition is that subtle, but Malzum sent me this script that had this really bold character journey, and then we started kind of just through a series of conversations that turned into this genre shift. But I guess the main thing I would say about coming from theater, and this is my first film, is that we all come from Chicago theater, where the whole aesthetic and defining principle is ensemble, which is very much about collaboration and putting the project first and not individual achievement. And so I'm just really proud of how much everyone on the team brought to the project. And so yeah, I mean, that's how the theater influenced that process for me.
Well, you guys all worked very well together. So.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your character. That Thai food scene, it's tough. Those interactions that we see with Maggie unfortunately symbolizes a broader cultural issue of entitlement and power dynamics. How did you approach this role, and what message do you hope the South Asian community, in particular men, take away from the film?
Wow. It's funny. When I got the script, I've known Muslim for a long time, and I got on the phone with Muslim. I was like, look, he's kind of an asshole, but I don't think he means to be. He's just an asshole because that's how he knows to be. And so I wasn't here trying to like humanize him or make him a good guy. I wasn't doing that, but this idea that it's in the bones. And I think a lot of South Asian men see, and obviously there's a lot of great South Asian men, but I do think there's a lot of like patriarchal, misogynistic bullshit in like our bones. And it's sort of just like, and you have to work real hard to like root that shit out. And James needs to keep working.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes that bold woman to say no.
Yeah.
All right, well, as both the writer and the lead actress of Maggie's Not Okay, let's hear it. You created a character who really breaks free from the expectations placed on her, especially those common in South Asian communities. How did you balance writing and portraying Maggie's transformation, and what were some of the challenges you faced in authentically capturing her journey from a people pleaser to a bold, assertive woman on screen?
Great question. I feel like, the people pleaser in me still lives, and so does the boldness. So I feel like it's part of everyday life. Like with certain people, I'm more of a people pleaser. Like with my mom, I went to India earlier this year, and she wanted me to do the family dance and all this stuff, and I just said yes to it because I'm like, it's my mom. She gave birth to me, yeah, of course, but then certain things, so I feel like it's a constant journey of like finding boundaries, and that's kind of how I kind of plugged into it, because there's certain people that you're gonna say no because of who they are in your life, but then sometimes you do have to say, stand up and say, no, not today. So I think that's how I saw it, because Maggie had a big change on screen, but it's like little changes in life, like each day, like she asked me, like, oh, no, Mom, I can't do that. Like not right now or not today. But my mom's great, so we have a great relationship. So it's fine. It's all with love. But but just certain things. So I think it's a journey that I'm still going through, and I think that's it's just captured in a bigger, bolder shift on screen. But I feel like as women, I think we're always trying to find the boundaries in all of our relationships. And sometimes we're successful at it, sometimes we're not, and we're kind of constantly working at it.
Yeah, and congratulations, it was just such a beautiful film, and I think to all the women in here, you could probably really relate to that feeling, so congrats. All right, the clown. Woof. This film's depiction of a double life highlights the often hidden struggles of South Asian women to find autonomy. How did the team kind of balance these darker themes with the creative expression of the clown, or as a producer, what drew you to this project?
I think the one thing that really drew me to this project was every time that we kind of go out in the city in Pakistan, we do see clowns. And then, there are a lot of people who are pretty scared of clowns, and then there are some people who really want to kind of interact with the clowns. But then this story came to me, Kamal Chima, who's the director and also the writer. He brought the story to me, and I felt like, wow, I never thought who is under that mask. And to see a woman getting out of her comfort zone, and a person who gets locked in every day, to see her break the window and just go out in the world and be amongst all the men at night in the odd hours is just something that really blew my mind. And we do not see enough stories of women being in the streets, especially at such times, let alone, during the daytime. So this is something that really kind of connected with me. And we had, I think, 90% or maybe 80% of our crew was women-led as well.
Wow, that's
So,
huge.
That was great. So that is something that really connected with me, and I am so honored to be on this project. And last year I had a film at ISAC which I directed, and this time it's a film that I've produced. So I'm just so glad to be here.
And what an empowering story. Thank you for sharing that story about the crew being all women. We know that it is really difficult to do, especially in places like Pakistan, where you also have to train a lot of the crew. So that is extremely.
Thank you to Kamal and to our crew and cast. They're not here, but this film is all of them. So thank you to them.
I loved Hema. I loved her. I thought she was such a beautiful.
I am a writer first, so maybe the only part that's fully non-fictional is Sahil, and everything else was just sort of the community I grew up with in the Bay and the other mothers who sort of raised me along with my mother. And I lost her to cancer about 10 years ago, so a lot of that journey was other sort of mothers sort of coming in and raising me. So I think it's a story of a lot of them into one, and I think that's sort of what I wanted to portray. So I hope you could be in Surrey, you could be in Chicago, Naperville, you could be in New Jersey, but it's a very similar sort of story. So thank you, ISAF, and Product Culture and everyone. So thank you for watching.
Thank you for being here. Well, team, when I first saw your film, I think I was telling someone about this, but it was kind of a rough cut, and even at that point, there's just so much emotion in each shot and the way it's lit. It's so beautiful, and so I'd love to also kind of touch on what you guys discussed earlier about just sharing the story that is so personal to you. So I think I'll go with you first. As directing and producing, producing a film that addresses both this intergenerational conflict and LGBTQ acceptance in a South Asian context is still something that is extremely groundbreaking. What motivated you to tell this story, and how do you think it can impact conversations within South Asian families?
Sure, yeah, I think when we were starting to work on this film, we were seeing a lot of stories of people coming out and parents being villainized. And everyone's relationship with coming out, especially when in the context of family, is so complicated and so different. And I think for us in particular, there's so much love in our family. So we really wanted to tell a story that kind of humanized the person on the other side of the table, and really considered where they were coming from and their experiences and how that sort of influences reactions and sort of how they think about what's best for their children. And I think in sort of growing with the film and watching it now and sort of thinking about how our relationships have changed to our parents, it's so much too about, drawing a boundary and radically accepting the truth of your relationships with your parents and really deciding to put what is going to make you happy first. So lots in there that feels personal, and I think it's so exciting to be able to share it with an audience that might feel similarly about their relationships with their parents.
That's beautiful and so bold. Rita, for you, your character's journey to gain acceptance from her mom is such a powerful narrative, especially considering some of the stigma that we talked about. How did you approach the role?
Well, it is pretty loosely based off of my own life, so it wasn't that hard to approach the role. My mom isn't dead and did not come haunt me as a ghost, though. But hopefully she won't do that either. But anyway, yeah, as I approached the role, kind of with what Meher was kind of touching on, I really wanted to just showcase this story of coming out where, you know, we see a lot in media that there's either total acceptance or like kind of total rejection. And that just like wasn't my case at all, coming out to my mom. And one, I'd like come out to her multiple times. First of all, it's like she kept forgetting. But it was always this kind of thing where it was like she would say like, I love you, but you know, I don't totally accept this, you know, decision or lifestyle or choice or whatever. And so I really wanted to kind of, I wanted to approach that complexity where, you know, I still have a relationship with my mom. I love my mom. I know she loves me too, but, you know, this is, you know, I'm gay, I'm lesbian, like this is who I am. And her to not be able to accept this big part of me was very difficult, even though I know she loved me. So it was also kind of coming to terms with myself too, and like, can I just accept the fact that my mom doesn't accept this? And, you know, you kind of see that with Nikita at the end, and it definitely reflects my own personal journey in my life, and yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you all so much for coming to the festival, for creating these stories that really, you know, shift our perspective on what women can be and what they are. All of the filmmakers, I think, are gonna hang out for a bit, yeah, for lunch. I really, you know, if you guys get a chance to talk to them more about their stories, it's just incredible hearing about how they got here and what they've done. All of them also have extremely fun histories. So thank you. And then I really just want to thank the ISAB team, Girtana, Pallavi, Bulkit, Manu. It was such an honor for Safa and for Product of Culture to get to curate this block of films. And I hope you love them as much as we do, and enjoy the rest of the festival.
Yes, we have another block starting next door, Odd One Out. And then at 3 o'clock in this theater, we will have the Pathbreaking Actors panel, which some of these folks are going to be on. So stick around, grab a bite, come back, and enjoy some more ISAF programming. Thank you.